Welcome to Tangent PropTech, where real estate meets innovation and goes a bit off script. I'm Edward Cohen, PropTech entrepreneur and your host, alongside my co-hosts and PropTech venture capitalists Jeffrey Berman and Zach Ahrens. On this show, we bring on a guest who's shaping the future of real estate. We dive into housing innovation, climate tech, the future of work, and everything transforming our buildings and cities. And of course, we go on some tangents. If you work in real estate, PropTech, development, or if you're just obsessed with making buildings and cities better, this show is for you. Because sometimes the best real estate ideas start with a tangent. I'm Edward Cohen. Welcome to Tangent.
It's Jeffrey Berman. Welcome. Bienvenidos a Tangent.
This is Zach Ahrens. No hablo español muy bien, entonces debo hacer el introducción en inglés.
That was great.
Perfecto. Está perfecto. Ready for South Florida. Today on Tangent, we have Tzvika Graiver, co-founder and CEO at RoboChute Systems. So Tzvika, the idea behind RoboChute, take us back to the moment the idea for RoboChute clicked. What was the problem you saw in buildings that made you think there must be a robot for this?
So one of our partners 3 years ago, his mom has a company that builds and operates garbage chutes. Garbage chutes are pretty new in Israel, only in the last 15 years. And what we saw that a system that's supposed to benefit tenants and help with the waste management of the building becoming their biggest nightmare pretty fast. And then we said that this is something that we could solve, we could change. And it was a very big challenge to do. As you know, garbage chutes are not the nicest environment to work in, but we understood that there's three major risks that comes with this garbage chute. One is the health risk. These garbage chutes are stinks, but when you smell stink, it's basically mold, bacteria, germs. Second thing, they're the health hazard because they're the most flammable place in the building. So if you Google garbage chutes, all you're going to find is this building got burned, this building got burned, and all the garbage chute is what's transferred the fire. And the third thing, which is super important for me, as you see in the back, the terrarium and the green shirt, it's the environmental damage that those garbage chutes are doing. So basically, besides contaminate the air of the building, that's a carbon footprint that stays for 50 years in the building when nothing is being done with. And this is when we decide we're going to take this challenge on. And we developed the first autonomous system that's doing all the maintenance for garbage chutes. It's cleaning it, disinfecting it, making sure it will never be clogged and not operational, and making sure that instead of living between 5 to 10 years and then starting to get structure damage, you will actually have this garbage chute for 50 years as it should be.
Okay, just a small parenthesis there to highlight the fact that the startup nation, the one leading in the most advanced technology like the Iron Dome or what goes on in our iPhones, but we only got trash chutes in the last 15 years.
Yeah. Since 2014, it's a code, so you have to build a garbage chute in every building. But we know that in New York, we have them since the 19th century, which, by the way, as far as I know now, tons of them are being replaced because they're just falling apart. So in some point, you will need to go in and change them, and that's what we're trying to prevent. It's active maintenance, but it's also preventing maintenance to make sure that this garbage chute will hold for the same life term of the building.
Super interesting. So what does a robot actually do?
Basically, our system lives in the garbage chute. We don't bring it and take it out. It's there all the time. It sits on the last floor, okay, on the rooftop. And when you guys goes to sleep, the robot goes down and start washing the chute with the brush that actually spin and wash all the garbage chute with the cleaning products without disturbing the building operational. You know, you can sleep and he's doing the work. What usually happens is you need to bring a company from outside. That's something that needs to shut down the chute for the rest of the day. So we're doing it at night. On the matter of blockages, for example, so today when you have a blockage, the only way to know about it, it's one of the tenants coming and screaming on the maintenance company, I have a blockage, I cannot throw garbage anymore. We take this and put it in the garbage of the history, because with our sensors, we find the blockage only when it started. So we're bringing IoT into the garbage chute, which didn't have any kind of software before. We are now bringing IoT, and we're sending a WhatsApp message, letting the building know they have a blockage, finding the blockage when it's small and taking care of it when it's small, opening the blockage with the robot itself, making sure that the chute will never get structure damage that being caused by those big blockages that I don't know if you ever saw. I would love to share a video. I know that your audience doesn't have a video, but if you ever saw how the opening a blockage is a very nasty thing.
We'll make sure to drop a link in the show notes. So Tzvika, how much is this costing buildings, both the ongoing maintenance or either dedicating someone from their team, or more likely for larger buildings, bringing an external team every so often, every week or every month, and when they get stuck and they get structural damage? How much is this costing buildings and owners?
So basically, every building that respects itself brings someone to clean the chute between 1 to 4 times a year. This cleaning, it depends on the size of the building, of course, but it costs between $2,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 per cleaning. Of course, when they come, they cannot use the chute for the same day, and then they're doing a good job, but they don't know the neighbor that lives on the 16th floor that the day after throwing her food into the chute again, and the chute stinks again. So the cleaning is about $3,000 to $4,000, depends one time, depends how many times you do it a year. Blockages, same thing, depends on the building. If a building has a lot of blockages, it's about $3,000 to open a blockage. The main expense, the main ROI comes when we talk about the structure damage. So when you have a blockage, you don't know, but you're starting to build a structure damage because there's no real way to open it. One person will hit it, the other one will put water. And then when there's a structure damage, this is where the big money comes, because just to reach the chute, you need to basically build the building. You need to take the walls down just to reach it. And that's already cost tens of thousands of dollars to fix, depends on the problem. So we did our research on a 25-story building. We got to a $15,000 a year expenses. How? If you take 5 years, and in these 5 years, you have an average of 4 blockages only a year. Okay, you did cleaning twice a year, not 4, not once, twice a year, and they have 1 structure damage in these 5 years. So the average comes to about $15,000 for a building of 25 floors.
Let's pause here because I do want to ask our expert investors on our podcast here, Jeffrey and Zach. I mean, Jeff, we've gone through your thoughts and your assessment previously on not only the venture backability of hardware, but also the complexity of scaling hardware in our industry. However, we're talking here about an existing cost, an ongoing maintenance, and also some tail events that may happen more often than not, especially for more mature buildings. So what are your thoughts, or have you looked into similar solutions, or in particular, the trash chute solutions?
Yeah, Tzvika, how old is the company?
The company is 2.5 years. We're now closing our pre-seed round. So we were very bootstrapped at the beginning. We understood what Edward just said, that no VC likes to see hardware. Everyone gets scared. Although, Edward, if we have the time to talk about it, I think it's flipping now. So the hardware is becoming the king again because of AI that could basically copy any software very easily.
The question I'm asking is how many current installs do you have?
We have at the moment 5 installs in Israel. Big companies, we target like Azrieli, Gindi, TLV. We try to do the POC on real buildings with real issues. So we have commercial, Azrieli Sarona, which is a 62-floor commercial building, saving them tons of money already. At the moment, we have 5 active systems and 4 more contracts that's waiting for installation. One of them is in Los Angeles.
5 active systems. How are you charging?
So basically, our model is that we're not selling those robots. We're doing subscription fee.
Yep.
So the tenants pay a monthly fee that runs between $500 to $1,500, depends on the size of the building and the complexity of the building. And we're doing everything else.
And hold on, the tenants. Wait, hold on. I want to make sure I heard that right. So I live in Zach's building. Zach is a mega landlord, and I'm renting apartment 1A. Zach decides he loves RoboChute, and Zach says, "Okay, Tzvika, we're in." He orders a robot, not to own, but for the subscription. I, as the tenant, pay an extra fee to clean his trash chute.
So I don't know if it's you as a tenant, because it depends if there's a management company. So yes, the management company takes it and reduce the money they were already spending on cleaning the garbage chute.
Understood. They're not sending a new fee to the tenant saying, "Hey, by the way, we have these new robots and you're going to be paying for them."
Just to clarify, Tzvika, when you said commercial, were you referring to office? Because Jeff's example was
Specifically, we're in everywhere. We're hospitals, hotels, commercial, and residential. We have a building that doesn't have a management FM company in the building. It's just 19 floors. The tenants running the building. Yes, of course, it's coming from their pocket if they're running the building. If it's a company like Camden, for example, so Camden will take it upon themselves and not put it on the expense of the tenant. So it really depends which kind of a company. If it's owner like Zachary, so yeah, Zachary will need to put around between $1 to $2 more a month than what he's paying right now.
Got it. And then is there a standard size, or can the robot be modified for whatever trash chute size?
So yeah, part of our patent is that the robot can modify himself. He has like wheels that shrink and open by the size of the chutes. In the US, generally speaking, it's all the chutes are the same, are 61 diameter. Yeah.
And again, your business model is, you said they're cleaning these chutes once every quarter?
No, not at all. They're cleaning it every week.
I got it. Okay, so that's why the robot is going to stay on site, and it's going to go up
they're
and down
cleaning
and
it
just clean
every
this
week
bad boy.
as they should. Yeah, the code is requiring a weekly cleaning, but no one is standing in what the code is requiring.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So from a venture investability perspective, at least the way Camber Creek would look at it, we've looked at a lot of hardware deals. We've passed on most because there's been a massive disconnect between the valuation expectations and what we would actually like, how we value the business. We love hardware businesses, but we don't love the valuation expectations that most entrepreneurs come into it. They're like, "Oh yeah, we have X and it costs Y, but we want a multiple of Z." And that multiple is usually an order of magnitude higher than we'd be willing to pay.
So definitely, I agree with you. I think Edward knows our valuation, and we won't open it here, but there's still a place if you want to hop on the garbage chute maintenance train.
This is why I love Israelis. It's like always be closing. Shalom, dudu.
It's your option, man. It's your option. I'm just saying there's a little bit more space open if you want to squeeze yourself in.
You're already like 10 kesef.
No, I'm just you're asking. We're going.
Wait, how's my Hebrew?
I've
My
always found your Hebrew to be very impressive.
Is my
But
Hebrew
I also don't
Lotov?
speak much Hebrew either.
accent-wise is great. Accent-wise is your Russian definitely helps.
But lotam. I don't speak Hebrew at all. I just like to string words together.
I have an ulpan already open with Andrew Ackerman and a few more. You can join our ulpan
Love
class.
it.
Oh, Andrew, by the way, his Hebrew is unbelievable.
His English
Really?
is also not too
His
bad.
English is okay, but his
Yeah,
Hebrew
he
is
once
really
took me to a kosher pizza place that was so disgusting. I can't
How can you miss
even.
with a pizza in New York?
It was just it was a disgrace to both
Cut it out.
whichever rabbi blessed that pizza was clearly had his missing tongue. But let me just clarify a couple misconceptions about the hardware and robotics market right now. So VC investment in robotics for 2025 is estimated to be 12 billion US dollars. I don't know how many Israeli shekels that is, but it's a lot. So the idea that VCs are not investing in robotics, that's a misconception.
What was the numbers for software, Zachary?
For software, it's in the hundreds of billions, right? So it's still much smaller, but it's accelerating faster. Also, caveat to that, with respect to a business like RoboChute, the vast majority of that 12 billion is going into a handful of companies building very ambitious humanoid robots that can theoretically do many different tasks. At Metaprop, we always, when we look at a robotics deal, we have the quandary: is it better to invest in a purpose-built robot, whether that be for something like drywall, painting, measurement on a construction site, cleaning of windows, cleaning of trash chutes? Those robots theoretically work much better and theoretically have more streamlined supply chains and unit economics. However, the total addressable markets of those robots tend to be smaller. One of the things you see with venture capital and the herd mentality is everybody right now is really excited about humanoids because they can theoretically do everything and more that a human can do without getting tired, without getting grossed out by the garbage in a garbage chute. However, it's still unclear if they can do any one thing that well. I just watched a video of a robot unloading a dishwasher the other day, and while it was impressive, this is a flex, I unload the dishwasher much faster and much more efficiently than that robot does still. But I've already peaked. Whereas these robots, theoretically, in 2 years, will be just unloading the dishwasher at 3-4x the speed. So that's just level setting of where the venture capital ecosystem is right now. I think most sector agnostic generalist VCs view purpose-built robotics as having too small addressable markets. So it's been a hard category. We do not necessarily. I think, to Jeff's point, what's important with robotics is you're never going to get a top line revenue multiple like you might in a fast growing software business. No matter how fast you're growing, you're going to be measured almost entirely on your gross margin, right? And for a lot of folks, the sheer cost of materials is immense and the supply chain challenges are immense. And thanks to our liberator, this year we also have tariff risk, right, associated with robotics, typically if you're manufacturing them in Shenzhen or components in Shenzhen that you don't have with software. So I don't think the category is totally off limits to venture. I just think it's certainly an uphill battle. But with something like a trash chute, you can theoretically show a vast addressable market as these things are standardized country by country. And there's no reason other than making the instruction manual into a bunch of different languages. There's no reason why this device shouldn't work as well as it does in Israel, in the US, in Costa Rica, in Kazakhstan.
Yeah. So I have tons of answer to say. I will just try to be quick. So one is we're blue ocean, so there's no RoboChute yet, and it's a niche. So I see the Chinese, and they're amazing. I cannot take it away from them. They know how to create great products and way, way cheaper than anyone else. But because I'm not selling a robot like iRobot, and I told Edward we're going to speak about it, iRobot just went out of business yesterday completely. So when you sell a robot that is for a consumer from a retail, yeah, the Chinese will come and eat you in a second. But when you sell an operational system for life of the building, I see RoboChute as a code. I see every building in New York in 5 years have to put RoboChute because they need to hold their LEED certification, LEED V5, whatever. So by me, I'm not looking in that matter on the same competition as the humanoids or the robots that paints, on all of those that the Chinese just eating them very fast, as more of a niche garbage chutes, which are 7 million worldwide, 2 million only in the US, and as something that is more kind of a service, not only a robot, but I give a service. The 5 installation we have already, the owner of those buildings, they're great friends already. Why? Because we give them all the attention they need. We solve them the problem. We're there where they need us. And those things Chinese cannot do. So that's in a short, on a very long answer I could give you.
Thank you, Tzvika. And we're certainly going to jump into what the implications of Amazon's failed acquisition of iRobot, which, for those that don't know, is the owner of Roomba, the little circular robot vacuum cleaner. Zach, just to clarify for some listeners, when you mean top line versus gross profit when it comes to valuating hardware companies, does that mean they will command a lower multiple?
Not necessarily. It just means they're valued on a multiple of gross margin instead of a multiple of revenue.
So it's going to start with a
It
lower.
doesn't necessarily mean it's a lower multiple. I mean, Figure AI has basically $0 in revenue, and they just raised it a $39 billion valuation. So go figure on that one.
That's a bargain.
Yeah. Jeff, I'll send you an SPV for it. The fees are just 12% on the front and the back. It's not.
And it's an uncapped safe, right?
Yeah, well, I don't even know. I didn't even get access to the terms, but I've raised a bunch of money for this SPV, so I'll just send you the wire info. It's not a big deal.
That's fine. I trust you.
Thank you.
So talking about just, the market reality today. So according to industry research, the US property management robotics market was about $4.4 billion last year, and is projected to reach roughly double that by 2032, around $8.6 billion, as automation moves into core operations. So Tzvika, why is now a good time for real estate to adopt robots, and why has operators been adopting robots now more than ever?
I think, as I told you before, I think the hardware is becoming the king again. There was not software 20, 30 years ago. There was no internet. There was mechanical things that was hardware and was changing lives on every system you can think about. Then it got neglected because of the software and the 90s revolution. Now it's coming back again because of AI. And I think that real estate is probably one of the most dinosaur industries over there. So you go in a building and you see that they're having hard time to benefit with themselves, because when we install RoboChute in Gindi TLV, for example, so next time when they have a blockage, they don't need to put a garbage chute in 50 floors now, which costs them tons of money in employees and time and everything. And when you go to Dubai and you see that everything there is niche, everything is beautiful, everything is luxury, but then there's this garbage chute that is sitting there and making the whole floor smell terribly. So you understand that innovation has to go to every place in the building, like you guys doing with water, like other companies doing with elevators or AC systems. The garbage chute was just something that, because it's hidden behind walls and you just smell it, you don't see it, was very easy to put behind, and now we're putting it in front. We believe that we can bring benefit not only to the tenants that live, but also to the owners by saving them money later on, not having this need of changing a garbage chute. It costs $200,000 to change a garbage chute, and the chute itself costs you $20,000-$30,000. But because you need to break the whole building now to replace it, that's a complete mess. That's why I think that's the time, and we see it. We see it in Israel. So many new prop tech, contact companies that popping up with AI, with robotics, that making a real change out there.
That's the headline title of the episode right there. How to avoid a $200,000 expense with a robot. Future of Real Estate comes together again next September at Blueprint in Las Vegas. You'll join more than 900 built world executives and over 850 startups and investors who are shaping how the industry works from construction to transaction. With trillions of dollars in assets represented and some of the world's best innovators under one roof, this is where the future of the built world takes shape. Blueprint 2026 will be held at the Venetian, Las Vegas from September 22nd to 24th. Tangent listeners can save $300 on an all-access pass by visiting blueprintvegas.com/tangent. That's blueprintvegas.com/tangent for $300 off your Blueprint all-access pass. Tzvika, so robots are already working in real estate operations. We hear about cleaning bots and disinfection robots, and actually shout out to Robotics, who have a fascinating window cleaning robot. So how does RoboChute fit into this broader ecosystem of building automation? And how do you see RoboChute adding or scaling in the future?
So I told you, I think in the future it's going to be the code. Why? Because you're paying for how much costs an average apartment in New York City now? Two
Too much.
million, $1.5 million. You're paying all what you have and what you don't have on an apartment. The minimum you should get out of your home is a pleasant environment, quality air, not to have terrible smells or block downs that you need to leave. When the elevator doesn't work, take the stairs. When the garbage chute doesn't work, you're stuck with your garbage. You cannot go to the compactor and throw it. It's dangerous for you. So I don't see any other way to get out of it without building owners to understand that that's part of your building and it's actually a part you're using every day, sometimes twice a day. You're going and throwing your garbage. My only problem is that mostly men throwing the garbage and their nose is not functioning so well, so they don't really see the issue. But the issue is there and definitely something that real estate companies needs to see. I can tell you about Camden that if you care about your tenants, you're going to add it to your building because you understand it's going to bring an added value. Apartments that are close to the garbage chute in Miami, apartments that are the nearest apartment to the garbage chute sells between 10 to 15% less because people know the trick. Okay, you fooled us once, but now we know we don't want to have this apartment that is right next to the garbage chute because all the smell is going to come into my apartment. So we see things that if real estate owners will think further and will understand that I don't see this building for the next 2 years, I see it for the next 50 years. So every system needs to have, the solution.
We recently moved apartments to Gowanus in Brooklyn, and we visited one building, super nice, brand new. And the only reason we didn't want to apply was because during the move, there was trash smell, and it could have been that someone forgot the door open of the trash chute room, or something got stuck, or they don't have RoboChute yet in the building. So it is
100%.
a big.
Our clients, they go in the garbage chute room now and they're like, this is amazing. I'm not joking. They can choose which smell they wanted to have. They can have lavender smell in
Ooh,
their
I like
garbage
that.
room. They can have Hugo Boss smell, whatever. Think about it. It's crazy. You go inside one of the rooms of your buildings and you need to close your nose and not breathe for like 20 seconds. Where are we? We're in the 2025. Things like that shouldn't be exist. And you see it. You see that the blockages. I don't know if it was you that told me that I said that they don't have an angle in the US in the end of the garbage chute. And then one of you, I think you or someone else told me, I have it in my building and we get blockages every week. Shouldn't happen. And with RoboChute, it doesn't happen anymore.
Choose your own smell. I love that. And in New York City, the default smell will be cannabis anyway. So
Now, yeah.
at least you get that. I mean, I find it fascinating how different companies, different founders, different investors have different philosophies on how to tackle revamping, improving, building operations. Just comparing it to Pro Century, we use non-proprietary devices from the market. Our investors may not like this, but that means that doesn't force buildings to be locked into our risk mitigation system, and we give them devices that are battery powered, that are super easy to install. However, when we're talking about trash chutes, when we're talking about structural issues in buildings, approaching it through a patented robot seems to be a solution that could bring a lot of benefits and create a lot of enterprise value in the long term. But just fascinating how some people go the non-proprietary route and the others just build it from scratch and patent it.
I can tell you even for the low cell, it's one of our sensors that's supposed to recognize not to push a blockage too much because you never know, someone maybe threw a microwave and you don't want to over push. So we have a load cell sensor and you could buy it on AliExpress, but my engineers, my partners, they said, no, we want to do our own load cell. So I think there's something about entrepreneurs in particular that if they can get themselves in more troubles, they will always do it. So that's probably the answer is make your life harder.
Talking about getting into more trouble, should I tell my girlfriend then that Tzvika said that I shouldn't throw the trash anymore because my nose can be trusted and eat a
No,
women nose every time?
you should do it proudly. That's one of our jobs that we can do proudly. We just need to make sure that we're taking care of our health and care about us as well.
I
I will
mean,
have to speak about the environmental part because as you see, I'm green. This is green behind. We did came with agenda. We already had a startup 14 years ago, which called the separator. It was a garbage bag that when you finish using it, you separate it to two garbage bags, and we have a patent on that as well. But we stayed in this area kind of by mistake, but kind of not, because we truly believe, one, that trash is treasure, and that's the next stage RoboChute is going to go. What are you doing with your trash? We already have a smart chute. It's installed in 30 buildings, not like RoboChute that is only installed in 5. It's installed in 30 buildings in Israel. And it's making the recycling experience a good experience. So there is a smart chute, but you need to press a button. You don't get any feedback, how long you need to wait, whatever. Smart chute is basically taking a few pipes and make them one pipe that separate the garbage on the bottom. So our goal is not only to make the building air better and the carbon footprint lower and lead and ESG and everything. We want it after the robot is already there. We're going to take it to the next level, which is to implement our smart chute, which could benefit money for the tenants. I'm not only talking about a smarter way to manage your waste, but really to make a big impact and to do it with AI, which is a great tool today because we cannot trust the end user too much. So AI can help a lot with that. So our systems see what you throw in the garbage, helps you to recycle. And if you want to put a microwave, the door won't open. So that's where we're going.
talking about AI, so I mean, in PropTech now, there's a big discussion about whether AI will deliver marginal gains or fundamental shifts. So, do you see robotics as a marginalized optimization or a foundational shift in how buildings are managed?
I don't know, when is the last time you guys been in Dubai? But in Dubai today, they took away the trust of the end user, of humans in general. It's sad, it's scary, but in Dubai, you will not talk on your phone while you're driving. Because in the moment you're going to pick it up, you're going to get a WhatsApp message telling you, here is your fine. Everything is filmed. You cannot play
Enjoy your
games.
call.
Yes, exactly. And it's sad. You see it. I saw a geniusly startup he just sold it of a guy that all those minutes you cheat when you put your parking app, so you came a minute earlier, you stop at 5 minutes before you come. So cameras, they look at you, they know when you came in, when you came out, and they send you the fine right away. That works already in Florida everywhere. So you can, and in Los Angeles as well. You cannot park your car not paying a minute. So they taking the trust away from us, and maybe they have a good reason. So the same thing is with trash and recycling. If people were using the garbage chute properly, there was no need for RoboChute. You won't put carton boards, you won't put carpets, you won't put microwaves. You close your bag very well and you tie it. The chute will hold for 50 years, but people don't do it. Everyone is doing whatever they want. So because of that, we're going to implement the cameras that anyway, every building today you go in, you're being filmed. So when you're going to go through your garbage, you're going to get an experience of let's recycle together now. Let's do something good. You're going to get money for it. You're going to get benefits for it. You're going to get something out of it. But if you want to do something wrong and you want to throw a carpet inside the garbage chute, I won't let you do it. And then there's no blockages anymore. So this is where we're going.
Fascinating concept of like taking away the trust, or I like the framing of recycling together, or making sure we throw the trash in an appropriate.
Making sure. Yeah,
making
that's
sure.
Making sure.
Yeah. Just wanted to quickly get your thoughts. So we know Amazon tried buying iRobot, the maker of Roomba, for $1.7 billion last year. However, the FTC blocked it due to competition concerns. And now, fast forward to a year and a half later, iRobot filed for bankruptcy. What are your thoughts on this? And how does this play into what you were saying before, China's hands in terms of manufacturing robotics and keeping US companies or competitive in the market?
It's a sad story for me because my mom had one of the first Roombas because my brother best friend was the distributor of Roomba in Israel. And I saw how they did it, and they did it really well. They made him take a nice place in King David Street, make it luxury, make it fancy, and they worked very, very well. I think the only problem is that when you buy all your materials from few specific manufacturing in China, in the end, they see what you're doing. They can copy you, re-engineering you very easily, and then create not one copy of iRobot. There's probably 150 copies of iRobot. So if there was Roomba and then another one, another two, there was no problem. There's enough space for three robotics that cleans billions of homes. But once the Chinese are seeing that it works, they're jumping on it. So with consumer products, retail, it's much easier for them. They see a nice, small, cute robot that Toys R Us did, and they're doing it in 1/10 of the price. But when you go to more complex robotics that requiring using radio waves, that requiring using a SIM card, I think that the US in particular, they won't let this kind of machinery go in so easily. And I think again, the problem, and me, I'm the small Tzvika from Israel. Yeah, iRobot was an empire, but I think the biggest mistake they did is they didn't reinvent the wheel. They tried by putting their own cleaning products. I don't know if you remember that, and they failed over there. And then they just let 150 other carpet robotics go and wash them away to a point that who wants to buy a robot for $400 when you have the same for $70?
I think the biggest mistake they made was selling off their defense robotics business in 2016.
Wow.
That's another one,
To
yeah.
just focus on the consumer robot.
Huh.
That was by far the big. If they had kept that business, they would still be alive today. And I think it was insane that the FTC blocked that deal. The idea that a robotic vacuum is a necessary item and Amazon buying it would create some sort of anti-competitive monopoly just didn't make any sense. And it still doesn't make any sense. And the day after it was announced the deal was getting blocked, they laid off 30% of their workforce. So this was yet another example of that regime's FTC trying to protect employees, trying to protect consumers. They ended up getting a bunch of folks fired, bankrupting a company, and then depriving a bunch of consumers of a gadget that they really liked.
Yeah, I don't know a single person that had a Roomba and didn't like it, and they're cute and funny and not as threatening as
But
a
not a
humanoid.
single person owned a Roomba and was like, I cannot live without this item. When the FTC broke up Ma Bell, because that was the only company allowing people to make a phone call, that was a good decision. There's a big difference, though, between fundamental communication and a robotic vacuum cleaner.
I think it could have been a matter of like people feel or seem that Amazon is a monopoly in some way, shape, or form, so they decided to block this one off instead of like maybe looking into breaking up Amazon in another way, or yeah, just big tech becoming bigger. Just maybe looked like an easy win on paper for that FTC's regime at the moment.
Yeah, or challenging the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. It was like it's an essential thing for every citizen of the United States to be able to play Call of Duty on every single device. It's like, no, it's not. I've never played Call of Duty in my life. Totally nuts.
It is nuts.
There's one thing I like about the Trump administration is that FTC regime is gone. That actually may be the only thing I like about the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they were saving them anyway, Zach, because the way Chinese companies are scaling, it's scary. Take the biggest manufacturer in America. He doesn't do 1 divided to 10 of what a factory in Shenzhen is doing. So even if you have a great humanoid, let's go for the humanoid robotic companies in America, the Chinese one, for each one they're going to create there, they're going to create 50 in China. So it's tough competition. It's really, really a tough competition. Some say it was better if iRobot was just from few years backwards selling themselves to those manufacturers that were creating iRobot. Definitely an issue. I told you I'm happy it's a blue ocean for us for now. And like iRobot, by the way, it was a blue ocean for them also when they started, but also that we're not a consumer product that you change every year or two and you want to get a new one and cheaper one and etc.
Playing devil's advocate a little to what you said earlier, Tzvika, on like China, focusing on not specialized robots, if you will. We used to say similar things about China not being able to have consumer software brands that are worldwide adopted, and then we have TikTok and Temu and all those. So
No, I have
let's
no
hope.
doubt. I have no doubt that some Chinese company, or it doesn't have to be a Chinese, it could be an Edward that goes to China and doing a competition to my robot. There's no doubt. First, it's okay. It's just gonna give a validation that there's a market here if there's competition. I'm okay with one or two. But this is why we did a trademark on RoboChute. This is why we're building a brand with RoboChute. And this is why I still think that because we're not selling robots here, we're selling a service here, we can bring our added value compared to other people. It's like, I don't know how I'm getting to this comparison, but there's cosmetic shops of Americans in the US and there's cosmetic shop of Israelis in the US. You check how
Oh,
much
that
those
Dead
sell
Sea,
and how much
that Dead
those
Sea.
sells, and they sell the same product. Both of them are selling Chinese product, whatever, but it's about the service, it's about how you do it, it's about this is how we won this is how the Maccabim won the Yevanim, the Greeks, right? They were small and but we have a lot of enthusiasm and we believe in ourselves. So let's hope the Chinese won't prove us wrong.
Yeah,
As
it
long
worked out
as
so well for us in, the other times we revolted too, right? Bar Kokhba, that ended well.
No, but it ended with that we're still both of us know who's Bar Kokhba today, so that's also something.
as long as Uncle She's building doesn't smell like trash, I think you should be fine. Tzvika, last but not least, collaboration superpower. If you could choose one person, historic or living, to do a partnership with, who would it be? It could be for a RoboChute. It could be in your personal life. After hearing you today, I was thinking you're gonna choose like Trumpeldor or Jabotinsky, but
I think Hannah Senesh was a great, great person to add to the team. She was jumping from a plane without thinking twice for the company, and she's a great leader and a big hero. And I also always believe in women in entrepreneurship that they have so much to give that we men don't. So I was joining a woman. We're four men. I was joining Hannah Senesh.
love that. Thank you, Tzvika. Zach, who's your collaboration superpower today?
So today I'm also going to go into the history books and I'm going to go with Lucius Tarquinius Priscus, also known as Tarquin the Elder. He was the fifth king of Rome and he reigned from 616 to 578 BC. Why am I choosing Tarquin the Elder? It is because in 578 he unveiled perhaps the greatest innovation in ancient history, the Cloaca Maxima, also known as the Roman sewer. So this guy, Tarquin the Elder, arguably the first ever garbage and waste entrepreneur, creative mind, engineering mind. He totally revolutionized the way we think about waste in antiquity. And without that sewer, we don't know, would Rome have been able to build an empire? Not so sure.
What's up with the sewer in New York? That's the question.
So the sewer in New York, first built in the 17th century. We actually have a bunch of different levels of sewers. First built by the Dutch in the 17th century, built a little too close to the ground, I think. So get a lot of
Yeah, I saw some floatings last
here
time
in
I
New
was there.
York. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank
Fascinating.
you for
Zach, you
teaching
keep
us about
getting
it.
your collaboration superpowers just keep getting better and stronger.
If it's the only thing you prepare for all week, Edward, you're gonna do well with it.
Yeah.
If you spend
Focus.
hours and hours preparing for this one thing, it better be good.
It better be good, and it is good. Just as RoboChute focus on one thing and one thing only, making sure your trash chutes don't get stuck and don't stink. Tzvika, where can Tangent listeners and commercial owners and operators learn more about RoboChute and connect with you?
So welcome to go on robochute.com. See all our details there. There's a form there. You can contact us. Also on my LinkedIn, Tzvika Graiver. Welcome to contact me and to collaborate. We are looking for good distributors in the US right now, and we're coming. We're coming. Get ready. Get your chute ready.
Tzvika Graiver, co-founder and CEO of RoboChute. Thank you so much for coming to Tangent today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you again for making real estate smarter.
Muchas gracias, and thank you for listening to this episode of Tangent PropTech. If you learned something new or enjoyed the conversation, text a friend the link to this episode right now. Tangent PropTech is co-hosted by me, Edward Cohen, along with Jeffrey Berman and Zach Aarons. You can find links, resources, and ways to connect with us in the show notes, or reach out anytime at tangentcommunity@gmail.com or on LinkedIn. We love interview suggestions, topic ideas, or just a friendly hello. If you're building something impactful in real estate or tech and want to reach our audience of decision makers, investors, and operators, email us. Again, that's tangentcommunity@gmail.com. We'll catch you next time, and remember, the best PropTech ideas usually start with a tangent.